But let's go to Victoria now. We've got this breaking news. It's on the Herald Sun. They're reporting now that John Pesutto has lost the Liberal leadership. So in that room, you can see behind the wooden door there, a series of votes have been taking place. The first is to spill the leadership. We don't yet know who will replace him. I want to bring in my colleague, Jack Nyhoff, who's there outside the party room meeting inside State Parliament. Jack, John Pesutto, the confirmation from the Herald Sun is gone. The question now remains, who will replace him?
Yeah, that's right. There are 3 other candidates who have put their name up to get that top Liberal job. Now that meeting underway now, so we're expected any moment now we could find out who exactly has taken the top job. Clearly John Pesutto losing that vote. The top contender is Victoria's Shadow Police Minister Brad Battin. He's the one that called John Pesutto yesterday to tell him that he was pushing forward with that spill motion. So we've also got Shadow Finance and Education Minister Jess Wilson. As you say, a new entrant into Parliament, only coming in 2022. She released a statement online saying that she was running, and this morning we found out that Mornington MP Chris Cruther was also putting his hand up for that leadership. We saw Moira Deeming walk in the party room earlier. That's confirmation that they have voted her back into the Liberal Party, so obviously she's going to be casting a vote in this ballot as well to determine who will be the next Victorian Liberal leader.
And it would be a big elevation for Brad Battin. He's currently the Shadow Police Minister, but not the first time he's actually attempted to secure the Victorian leadership in 2021. He tried to oust the then leader, Michael O'Brien, but wasn't successful. He's from the right of the party, a conservative choice within the Victorian Liberals. But this meeting today, Jack, bringing to a head what has been months of instability and toward Victorian Liberal ranks. The big irritant has been how John Pesutto has handled the relationship with Moira Deeming, exiled from the party in 2023 after attending that rally. We've seen over the last few months that very public defamation battle between the pair play out in the federal court. But now, with John Pesutto's time coming to an end, Moira Deeming back in the fold, a lot of Liberals and even federal ones will be hoping this brings an end to a lot of that drama.
A huge miscalculation, Trudy, on John Pesutto's point of view. Obviously, that defamation battle running between the two of them, Moira Deeming winning that defamation battle, a vote just last week to bring her back into the fold of the party. That was tied 14-14, and this is the big misstep that John Pesutto has taken, which has ultimately, it seems, cost him his leadership. He used his deciding vote to keep her out of the party, and over the weekend he was frantically backtracking to get another vote up, hoping to save his political leadership. He set a vote for early next year in January. Clearly that was too late because his fellow party members have called for a meeting today.
Jack, I'll just jump in there. I just want to bring the breaking news to our audience. Brad Battin confirmed to me as the new Victorian Liberal Party leader, confirmed there. You can see the breaking news. So Brad Battin has been elected the new leader of the Victorian Liberal Party after this showdown today in the party room. We don't have the numbers yet as to exactly how this has played out. It was shaping as a 3-cornered contest. I'm just getting updates from our Victoria political reporter, Simon Love, who's just confirmed to me as well that Sam Groff, the former tennis star, has been voted in as deputy as well. So the breaking news, that leadership team for the Victorian opposition will be Brad Battin as the leader, his deputy, Sam Groff, in that position. So the new leadership lineup, replacing John Pesutto and David Southwick there in Victoria. He's been in office, Brad Battin, since 2010. Representing the seat of Gembrook for a long time before that was abolished, taking on the new seat at the last election in 2022 of Berwick. He's had a prominent role in the Shadow Cabinet for a long time. He's currently the Shadow Police Minister. His task now will be to unite this party. Jess Wilson, another one of those contenders, Jack, who was in the mix, she said she wanted to contest today to give MPs a choice and as an act of unity. Ultimately, her colleagues have selected Brad Battin for the role, but his task now, a big one, to unite that party room.
Yeah, certainly. Going into the party room, they were all talking about a move to unite the party. They were all saying that they really need to get the party united, a united front heading into the election to finally defeat the Victorian Labor government, which has reigned for a very long time here in Victoria. Jess Wilson putting her hand up. She's a new entrant in Parliament, but certainly hoping that she could potentially match Jacinta Allen, the Premier. Clearly, it was not her day, but yeah, Brad Battin, a former police officer holding that portfolio of shadow police minister. Clearly he thinks he's the man to be able to pull this off and unite the party and get voters on his side to finally turn the tide here in Victoria, which is a very strong Labor state traditionally.
And the first real test will come for Brad Battin in these series of by-elections we're going to see in the new year. I know John Pesutto had made it clear he wanted an opportunity to be able to take on these contests and prove that he had steered the Victorian Liberals back into a winnable position. For such a long time, Daniel Andrews and Labor, the brand there, reigned supreme in Victoria. We have seen the numbers under the new Premier Jacinta Allen come off a bit in terms of that popularity. They've been in office for a lengthy period, almost a decade now. So for the Liberals, it's a new team, a new look team ahead of the next state election. But that first test will come at the ballot box in these series of by-elections. And John Pesutto will not get that opportunity to prove that he had put the party back in a more competitive position. He's been in that role, I'd point out, since December 2022. He replaced Matthew Guy in the Victorian Liberal leadership position. So for him now, that time at the top job will come to an end. For him, the question mark will be on whether he chooses to remain in politics or whether he now decides to bow out entirely. And I suppose a question of what happens to the moderates within the Victorian Liberal Party as well. Jess Wilson, an ally of John Pesutto, she's only been in Parliament for 2 years there in Victoria, holds the seat of Kew at just 34. You'd imagine she still has a career ahead of her, but she didn't get necessarily what she had wanted in terms of even that deputy position. There was a bit of back and forth, Jack, between the Brad Battin camp and Jess Wilson's camp as to whether she had been offered formally a deputy role, whether that had been a deal gone wrong. The Brad Battin supporters backgrounding in the media this morning saying that she, quote, hadn't done the hard yards, and they rejected the claim that there was ever an offer of a sort of unity ticket. How do the new leadership team, when we see them emerge today, manage to heal some of that tension that's been very public in the last few days?